On this episode of Exactly How, we're going to give you a proven plan to become a millionaire in a very short period of time. We're going to give you tips and tricks to get the best tenants for your property that essentially pay off your mortgage on this episode of Exactly How.
You're listening to the Exactly How podcast, where you'll hear the underground, closely guarded wealth building secrets of successful people around the globe. Discover exactly how to improve your mental, physical, and financial health. Feel better, make more money, live, give, and prosper in today's exciting, fast-paced world filled with opportunity for those who know exactly how.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Connected Investors Podcast, Exactly How. During this episode, you're going to discover exactly how to buy your first rental, to get yourself ready to build a portfolio of assets that pay you each and every month. For those of you who are new, my name is Ross Hamilton, today's host and CEO of ConnectedInvestors.com and PrivateLenders.com. Today, we have the privilege to learn from a woman who looks at real estate in a whole different and very unique way and helps individuals like you understand exactly what you're trying to achieve before you just jump in. So I'm really excited about this call because I know a lot of you need this. Prior to her career in real estate, she did a lot. She was a secretary, did a lot of other things, but that all changed about 29 years ago because she was a single parent. She didn't have any money or education, but she had a burning desire to be successful and secretly wanted to be a millionaire, and she achieved her goal. I would describe our guest as someone who really is caring and result-oriented. Her name is Deb Cleveland, and today she is going to show you exactly how to buy your first rental. Deb, thanks for chatting with us.
Hey, Russ, how are you? It's a privilege and an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Well, when I saw what you've done and this specific topic is so popular in all of the Connected Investors forums, I wanted to go ahead and get you on the call as fast as I could. So thanks so much for clearing time out of your schedule to jump on with us. Now, before we dive in to exactly how to buy your first rental, Deb, you contribute a lot of your success to taking just one action at a time each day. Why do you think this has played such a big role in your success?
The first thing is for me is where it starts for us is being clear, like really seeing what it's going to look like over here. And in our business, it's so easy because our mortgages are 15 years long, which they better be 15 years long. So we can look 15 years out. We can say, okay, in 15 years, I'm going to be sitting on $1 million. And for some people, that seems to them like that's impossible. It's such a big number. But really, when you look at $1 million worth of real estate, that can be little as one piece of property and maybe as many as 8, but it's still really manageable. So it's starting out, the first step is getting clear about your financial objective before you begin.
Yeah. It's just one thing at a time. And I think it's, real estate investing, to get to that $1 million, it seems like you're eating an elephant, right? So we've all heard the expression, eat an elephant one bite at a time. So that's really what it's about. No task we're going to talk about today is challenging. Sometimes people get a little overwhelmed when they look at the big picture, but we're going to break it down for you. And that's what makes the Exactly How Financial Freedom podcast very different, is if you're driving and listening to this, you don't have to worry about taking notes because we pull all the valuable information out of Deb's head and we create a clear action plan for you that you can get for free with all of the notes, any of the vocabulary we use, so you can take the information here and start implementing it, because that's the most important thing. And Deb, you actually have a really cool free gift that you're going to give everyone as well when they go to exactlyhow.com. Can you show? I think you had it right at your desk there.
So this is a workbook. It's 25 pages long, and it's this step-by-step process that you take before you begin. And that's where I feel, Russ, that a lot of beginners get in trouble is they know they want to own a rental property. They're so anxious to get going that they jump right in before they really lay a solid foundation to build on.
Yeah.
So in this book, it takes you step by step. The first thing is getting clear about your financial objective, knowing what your resources are, being crystal clear about your purpose. Like, what's the reason? What's your reason for wanting to be a millionaire or a millionaires?
Yeah. Can you open the book there?
Sure.
Let's see, yeah. And guys, if you're listening to the podcast, you want to go to the Connected Investors YouTube channel. This way you can kind of see Deb, you can see all the information that's in this. I mean, 25 pages is the perfect amount of information to consume, to fill out. So all you have to do is visit exactlyhow.com, and you can download this essential GPS. And in addition, when you visit exactlyhow.com, you can throw your name in the hat to win our $3,000 Pre-MLS software that allows you to pinpoint the best rentals in any single market. It's all of the properties to rent, the vacants, the pre-foreclosures, the inherited properties, commercial, residential, all the contact info of all of the owners of these off-market properties. So it's a tremendous value, and we're going to give it away to someone on this call. So if you're watching this live, visit exactlyhow.com, throw your name in the hat. We're going to announce the winner really shortly here. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. Before we jumped on the call here and hit the record button, Deb and I talked about the three main steps. Step one is to get clear on your financial objectives. Step two is where do you want to invest? And step three is what type of tenant do you want to have in your house? So Deb, let's go ahead and talk about step number one to get clear on your financial objective.
Okay, very good, Russ. So when you begin, it doesn't matter what area you're in. Like in my area in upstate New York, in order for me to reach my financial objective, which was $1 million, when I looked around in my market, it meant that I had to buy anywhere from 8 to 20 properties because my per unit investment was anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000. So what you do is you take your number, you look in your market as far as if you're going to be owning single family houses or duplexes or 3 units as far as what they're selling for. And then you take that amount, let's just use $250,000 for an example. Say if you're in the Florida area and you're buying single family houses and you're going to be renting to mid-income earner, you take that and you divide it into $1 million. I wish I was in Florida. And that means that you only have to own 4 properties in order to meet your financial objective, which is so easy to obtain for a beginner.
Yeah. So 4 properties, you'll be getting paid every month. So you'll be getting cash flow, making money. You're able to take advantage of the tax benefits of being a real estate owner, which all tax codes were created by wealthy landowners. So there's a lot of benefits in owning real estate. Then after 15 years, you have $1 million or more realistically maybe even 2 million with the way prices are going up in retirement dollars. And it's just, like you said, like your core trade being doing that one thing every day. This is just one thing you do today. You do it every day. 15 years goes by like that. How fast has the last 15 years gone by? Right?
Oh my gosh. I mean, 15 years have gone by for me. I'm 60 now. I started when I was 30. I retired a multimillionaire at the age of 48. And it wasn't because of the small business that I started out in my spare bedroom. It was because I invested in rental property. Yeah. And they all got paid off in 15 years. And I'm sitting there at 48 years old going, okay, now I'm financially free. Now what's next? Well, let's start the game all over again. Yeah. And then the next objective was $5 million.
Well, yeah, it's funny you say that because we had someone that worked with us part-time here at Connected Investors helping us with some writing for the last 5 years. And fortunately for her, unfortunately for us, she put her 2 weeks notice in a little while ago because while she was working here, she was buying properties and she kind of hit that point in her life to where she's like, I'm done, right? I have enough cash flow coming in. I'm retired. She likes to hula hoop and travel to all sorts of fun festivals. She's 50 some years old, having a blast, but she put that time in early. And now we're seeing people that are retiring as a result of that. Now I will say one thing here, once you're financially free and you start hanging out, you realize something. It's just like earlier today, I was hanging out with my daughter and we were at the playground and no one else was there. She's like, Daddy, where are all the kids? We go to the beach. No one's there. Everyone's working. It gets a little bit lonely when you're financially free walking around, but it's a good problem to have. So
well, I'll tell you can do a lot of – so when I was in that spot, Russ, and I was financially free, I did exactly that. I was like, okay, what was I thinking? Because I love business so much. So I did take a couple of years off and I went on this spiritual quest. And what I really could see was that I loved the business so much that I jumped right back in and I helped over the last 10 years turn a city completely around by renovating over 482 properties. And now I own 90 rental units in that community.
Yeah. And talk about a great legacy to have there. So you're creating your clear financial objective. Is there anything else you want to kind of touch on there? And is some of that also in your workbook?
Yeah. So,
Okay, great.
your first thing is getting clear on your financial objective, which is your vision. The next thing that we go over is, the thing that keeps your vision alive is your purpose. When I was 30 years old, I was scraping pennies and nickels and dollars and dimes together to make, rent money at myself. But I had a purpose, and the purpose was to, why not go for being a millionaire? I didn't even know that word existed, but it sounded like something to aspire to. And as I went along one step at a time, and the mortgages started getting paid off, and the value started increasing, and the cash flow started increasing, my life dramatically changed in a very short period of time. But my purpose, there was those days, like we all have as real estate investors, where I'd get the phone call at the most inopportune time with the Barbie doll that's stuck in the toilet because, oh, my daughter wasn't thinking when I was putting my makeup on. And she, it's like, so now I've got to go call the plumber. But when I remembered my purpose, it was like, okay, it's not that big of an object. It's not that big of an obstacle to overcome. And it's having that team member in place so that when you get those phone calls, and I go over all of that when I work with my clients as far as what they need to do and what they need to have in place so it makes it easy to own, manage, and maintain. So the next steps from your vision is your purpose. And then you look at your identity as far as like, how do you show up? Are you the kind of person that goes into hopelessness easily? Are you a procrastinator? Like, how do you have to be? Like, how do you have to create yourself so that you show up powerfully every day and you keep taking those steps and you have the support and you have the guidance?
Yeah. It's, you touched on purpose there, and a lot of people that might go in one ear out the other. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's so monumentally important to really understand that's the fuel that keeps it going. Your initial spark, you're on this podcast, you get excited, you get some motivation. Motivation will get you in the game. The purpose is what helps you win the game. So really defining that. How do you help your clients figure out what their purpose is? Because I think a lot of people just kind of get stuck. Well, what's my purpose? Well, I want to retire. Well, why? I don't know, because I don't feel like working anymore. I mean, how do you help people craft that fuel that they need?
I am so fortunate, I believe, because I'm either working with people that are, like my son would say, Mom, you always work with people where their vehicles are already in motion. So the folks that are attracted to me, they've either started a business or they have a successful business and they know they want to own rental property. So they know their purpose is to retire financially free and to have an extra million or two or three. And also they're starting to be in that income bracket place where owning real estate investments is really wise for them. The other group of clients that I work with are ones that are retired. And they've already had great success in their life. They've had successful businesses or careers, and now they're in this place where they want to have fun, they want to make a difference, they want to learn something new, and they want to give back. Like that's truly their purpose. But Russ, the irony of it is once they get going, they get back in the game. They get into the game. They've never been in the game. They've watched a lot of fixing and flipping shows. And they actually are attracted to me because they want to fix and flip their first property. But after they do one, they go, oh, I'm not flipping this. I bought it right. I renovated it right. The cash flow is strong on a rental. Like, why would I sell this? This is a great investment. And they go on to do another and another and another, and they become involved again in the community. And it really breathes new life back into them. It's just been a beautiful experience.
Yeah, that's very inspiring there. So you work with a lot of people that you've kind of given them a second life. I mean, once you learn how to invest in real estate, you never really like retire because you're always investing in real estate because it's fun for you. It's just a little game you play and you're like, all right, that worked. Let's do this. And it's one of those trades that once you learn, ladies and gentlemen, once you get over the fear and you do your first deal, you do your second deal, you're like, you'll never be broke again. Right? You have this magic power. People will think it's amazing that you can do it. And you're like, it's not that hard. I just did it. Right? So that's exciting.
The other thing I want to talk about, because I wrote this book for exactly those people, the people that want to fix and flip, Russ. This is a step by step, microscopic steps, tiny steps that you can take every day that tells you everything from how much is a knob on a kitchen cabinet to what does it cost to gut a bathroom? What does it cost to do a tear-off roof? How much should I be paying for labor for somebody that will be installing a boiler? This was inspired by these gals that I worked with that were retired, because the first thing that folks say to me when they hire me or talk with me about hiring me is, where do I begin and how do I know how to price things out? Like this, when you're renovating and flipping, that's essential that you know how much labor is, because it's all about demystifying it. Because if you don't know, you're going to be paying retail prices and then you won't make the kind of money that you want to make in a flip. You need to understand wholesale, and you need to be able to have the conversation with a contractor about, listen, I'm a flipper. I can't pay retail, but I'll keep you on as a worker if we can work something out price-wise. And boy, that's been, I would say, the genius that's come out of me being a fixer and flipper for the last 30 years is that I really learned that there's so many contractors out there that would love to work with a fixer or flipper because they really don't want to go out and bid out jobs.
Yeah.
They don't really, their wife, they work half the year and the other half the year they're throwing it over the bar. Their wives are yelling at them. So for them to get a full-time gig where they're making fair wage with people they really enjoy working with. I have 3 guys this time around that have been with me for 10 years. In this tiny group, we've done over 120 units together over the last 10 years.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, making sure you're not paying retail prices is really important. That money goes right into your pocket. And they say retail is for suckers. Yeah, it's for
yes.
And really it's not really suckers. It's people that aren't educated, they're not planning ahead. They're they don't understand what they're getting into. So that's why you're listening to this podcast, because there's a better way to do what you want to do. And when we break it down for you, and that book right there, was that a free gift, or are people buying that book? How can someone get that book?
This one's for sale on Amazon.com.
Yeah.
It was the #1 bestseller for a couple months.
I'll make sure to have a link to it on your page at exactly how. Yeah. This way you can go ahead and get that, because it sounds like some really valuable information. That's a big book. I know some of you listening to this can't see it, but to have all that information in there, it's going to be a great reference guide for you to go to when you're walking around your house.
Absolutely. Right. And if they visit me on YouTube, Russ, I mean, I'm constantly educating people. I just want to see more people out there in our communities, the right people, the people that really care, that are going to take care of the properties, are going to take care of the tenants. I mean, my average tenant stays, I have 90 rental units right now, and my average tenant stays 8 years, and it's because I give them a beautiful home to live in, and I charge top rent. And I'm happy, they're happy to pay it, and I'm happy to receive it, because I've given them a beautiful home to live in. Yeah. And I'm talking about fringe markets. I'm talking about places where I'm able to pick up a property for between $20,000 and $45,000. I put about $20,000 to $25,000 in it. Now it's worth about $120,000, and the rent's somewhere between $975 to $1,200.
Perfect. Yeah, all day long. Well, great. That was step 1 on a clear financial objective there. And thank you for breaking that down for us. Now, step number 2, where you want to invest. Take us through exactly how to figure that out.
Okay. So once you get clear on your financial objective, you get to choose where you want to invest. And you need to spend some time on that. Like if you're going to be investing somewhere within 1 mile to 5 miles of your own home, I guess before that, the question you have to ask yourself, am I going to self-manage or am I going to outsource the management? Because that will help you in choosing your area. So if you're going to be outsourcing the area, if you're going to be outsourcing the management end of it, you can go in a different state, you can go in a different country if you want to. If you're not going to do that, my recommendation is that you invest in property that's within no more than 10 miles of your home, because that way you can very easily maintain and manage it yourself. So you need to do some due diligence. If you want, I've got a client right now, and she lives in upstate New York, and she's been researching the Alabama area. She actually flew out there. She spent a week out there. She found 3 areas, And what she did was she went in and she called me up all excited that she could buy houses for $1,000 to $5,000. And I said, okay, so don't get too excited. Like what is the outcome of that investment? Who's the tenant base you're going to be working with? Are you going to be working with people that won't pay their rent, because you don't want to buy $1,000 to $5,000 houses that are going to depreciate, and you're going to have a difficult time collecting rent and have high eviction. So you have to be really mindful when you're looking in the areas that you want to invest in. And what I would encourage people to do is, the easiest tenant base I feel, Russ, to work with is those mid-income earners that aren't going to buy a house, at least not for the first 5 to 10 years. For some reason, they either have a lot of college debt they're paying off, or they've moved into a new area and they want a home in a good school district. It doesn't have to be the best. They're mid-income earners. They may have some sort of issues with their credit, so they're not able to get their own homes, but they're incredible at paying their rents on time, taking care of the property. And my experience with them is they stay an average of 8 years. And really my overall experience is they pay off the entire mortgage.
Wow. That's fantastic. So anything else you want to talk about when it comes to where to invest?
Yeah, I really, oh my God, this is like such a big thing for me. Like I don't know why real estate investing, Russ, is so, there's like an addiction that shows up, like, especially for women, because we're so emotional. And when we find a deal, it kicks in some sort of pheromone where we're like, oh my God, it's a deal. It's like, because we go shopping and we love things on sale. But ladies and gentlemen, if it's a cheap house, don't buy it at first. It could be a great deal, but do some due diligence. Look to see, like, I'll give you an example of a client of mine that came to me. So this gal came to me out of California. She bought 5 houses in St. Louis. She was all excited because this is what she said to me: I get strong cash flow. I said, that's fantastic, but are you doing the three pieces of it? Are you getting the appreciation? Are you getting the depreciation and the cash flow? I mean, is your property going to appreciate in value as you own it? Once her and I did some research on it, she had bought in a depreciating area, and she spent twice as much as any other house that was selling in the area. And the reason why that's so tricky is that she was getting good cash flow because her mortgage was so low. But 15 years down the road, she wasn't going to be sitting with something that doubled in value. It would have actually, she would have lost half of her investment 15 years from now because of where she invested. She invested in a really bad area.
Yeah, no, that's really valuable insight there to kind of think through. So I like how you had those 3 points. Do you want to just touch on those 3 points again?
Yes. Let me see if I can remember them.
Cash flow, appreciation, depreciation.
So when you buy property, if somebody says to me one more time, but it cash flows, I'm like, okay, it cash flows. Like, there's a lot of people on the other side of the pond that invested in upstate New York, and they bought the properties because they cash flowed. But what they didn't know was they bought in, I'm using the word the hood. They bought houses in the hood that were bought for $1,000. The person put $5,000 into them. They sold the houses to them for $60,000. The houses weren't worth much more than $20,000, but they cash flowed. The management company promised them a 1-year management on the properties. They walked away. This is like hundreds of houses, and it happens everywhere. They walked away after a year. So this person in Australia that bought the property in this area had nobody to manage it. The tenants destroyed the place. They lost all their money, and they walked away from the real estate and went back into foreclosure. And that happens quite a bit. So
that's the, you see a lot of these like turnkey deals, and you have to really be careful with those, because those turnkey companies, I don't see them lasting very long.
No,
they hold seminars, they get people excited, everyone takes $5,000 out of their pocket, and
don't do it.
Yeah.
Stay away from some of the auctions, the big city auctions, because most of those properties, I mean, you'll see some people come and they'll buy 200, 150 houses at a time for $1,000 to $5,000. Don't get excited about that.
Yeah.
You would be better off looking in a mid-income earning neighborhood, mid-income or fringe, Fringe means that it's not inside of the hot area. It's just a little outside. And you know that within 5 years, the line is going to move. It usually takes 5 to 10 years in a fringe market for things to double in value. But don't go deep fringe either, because that is where they cash flow, but they're not going to ever catch up. There's just not enough going on there.
Yeah. Well, that's some great insight there. And anyone, you can also visit exactlyhow.com. We did a full training on picking markets, but I think your breakdown was perfect for our listeners for this topic. So number 3 was the type of tenant that you want. So you know your objective, you know where you want to invest. Now, what type of tenant do you want? Let's kind of talk through that. It sounds like you touched on it a little bit, but let's just dive deep into it.
Man, I love tenants.
I'm sorry, I forgot. I have the winner to announce of our software. So this individual, they went to exactlyhow.com to grab the free gifts from an episode they watched, to grab the free gifts from all the other episodes, because there's tons of value there. And they threw their name into the hat. And now they're walking away with a software that sells for $3,000 that helps you locate all of these properties. You can actually even choose markets by income level, which could be fun for some of the stuff that you're talking about. So the winner of this week's software is Greg Smith. Yay! Congratulations. Thank you so very much for interacting with us. We love when you like, when you share, when you comment, and that's going to play a big role in showing up on the radar when we randomly select someone to win that software. So if you didn't win, don't worry. You can apply it the next episode, and you can keep trying. So, all right, great. Greg will be in touch with you. Step 1, step 2, let's go over step 3, picking your tenant.
Wow, Russ, that's a valuable piece of software. I'm glad. Is it Greg that got that?
Yeah, Greg.
That's fantastic. Wow. So it does relate and tie into this. I love tenants. I still vet and meet every single tenant that's going to be moving into one of my rental units. And people say to me all the time, why do you waste your time doing that? And to me, it's not a waste of time, because I want to know who is going to be living in my property. And what I do is I really vet them. It's like, where are you living now? How long have you been there? Why are you moving? Where do you work? How long have you worked there? How many people were living in the property? Do you have any pets? What type of pets do you have? What will your landlord say when I call them? So for me, I look at my properties like they really are part of my family. I treat my properties and I treat my tenants. And my motto is, if I have a happy tenant, you're going to have a happy landlord over here. If this person's happy and it's a good match,
yeah,
it's kind of like a marriage, like we're dating.
Yeah, what did they say?
Yeah.
If mom's not happy, no one's happy. If your tenant's not happy,
no landlord.
There's just going to be a ripple effect of problems.
It really is. So when I buy a piece of property, when I go into an area, like when I'm investing in an area or a street or a neighborhood, I look at it and I say, what's going to be the best match for this property? And does it match the type of portfolio that I want to own? So if I go into an area and I know the only kind of tenant that I can really attract at that time, and you can have a strategy that over time you change the tenant base. And that's always been my strategy, because when I buy properties in my fringe markets, many times that's loaded with Section 8 and DSS tenants. But because I offer such a beautiful product, what I do is I attract tenants into the area that are really hip and they love that being in a transitional neighborhood. And that's what I'm all about. Because if it's in a fringe market, there's a lot of movement pushing it and pulling it towards being in that hot market. So I ask a lot of questions. I look if they're a good match. I look at their history. And there's so many different tenant bases, Russ, that you can work with. Like, I love mid-income earners with families. They tend to be great matches for the single family houses I own.
Who wants to move a family? Like, once you get your kid in there, they become friends with someone down the street. They're in the school district. They got a nice landlord. It makes there's a lot more ties, complications than just picking up and leaving once you have kids.
Yes. And I would say, if I was going to give one suggestion, is focus on single family houses with mid-income earners with families. You will be amazed. You'll be amazed at how long they stay, how well they take care of the property, and how infrequently you get a maintenance call. Because what I found with them is, if you give them a beautiful home, like say if the flap on the toilet's running, the husband goes or the boyfriend goes and fix it. They don't bother me with things like that because they feel like, wow, I don't want to bother Deb because she's given us such a beautiful product and I don't want to risk her not renewing because we have maintenance calls. I want them to call me, but I find that many times they don't, but I might get a little receipt with a note inside the rent check saying, hey Deb, I went out and bought this part. I didn't think you'd mind. I took care of the running toilet.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's really valuable information there. And that's why you are on this podcast. You're so smart for learning from individuals who have done this over and over and over again, wrote the book on it, wrote a big book on it, giving you an action plan at exactlyhow.com. Deb, this has been very, very eye-opening. And I have to ask you an important question here, maybe the most important question.
Oh boy.
What do you think your life would be like if you never invested in real estate?
Oh my goodness. Now you're going to make me cry. There's really no words for it. It's emotional to me. I was a single parent with no money, no education, no support. I started this tiny business out of my spare bedroom. I had no idea how it would go, but I had a dream and I had a vision and I took steps and it started becoming successful. I read a couple of books and I talked to all kinds of advisors on how to invest the money I was starting to make. But what kept surfacing was real estate. And I trusted it. There was just this feeling like this was the path, even though there was so many naysayers, Russ. Oh my God, there was like my parents, my friends. I mean, they were concerned for me because I was a single parent.
Yeah.
But I believed in myself. And no business that you can have, I can't imagine a business that you can have that's going to give you the freedom and the results that you will have if you discipline yourself, take some of your hard-earned money and invest just one property at a time. Have a 5-year plan, buy 5 houses, 1 each year over the next 5 years. And then the next 15 years, you'll be sitting on $1 million.
Awesome. Yeah. I feel about the same way there. And it's really cool to hear you break down just how important that was for you. You have to have a plan and you have to be doing something on the side. No one else is going to take care of you other than you. So, great. Well, Deb, do you mind if we jump into the rapid fire section of this podcast?
Oh my goodness. No, I didn't know it was going to happen, but I'm ready.
Yeah. So I'm just basically going to ask you a handful of questions. Just first thing that kind of comes into your mind.
Okay.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how strict were your parents?
8.
Do you get up early or stay up late?
Early.
How many hours of sleep do you get?
6.
Favorite or most recent book that you read?
Oh my goodness. I'm reading it right now. The Laws of Success. I can't remember the whole title, but I'm reading that right now.
Awesome. I'll make sure to have we'll get a copy of that. We'll put it on the blog there. Also, if you could be any superhero, who would it be?
Gosh, I always wanted to be Madonna.
That's a great superhero. I like when people go off the traditional Superman or Wonder Woman or something like that.
I love Madonna. She's like a chameleon. She changed so often. I just, I was a disco queen and she was a disco queen. I kind of grew up with her.
Yeah. My little daughter's favorite band is Casey and the Sunshine Band right now. She is shake, 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 shake. That's what she loves to do. Yeah.
I love it.
Little 2-year-old having a blast.
Oh my God.
What is something everyone should do less of?
Worry.
What is something everyone should do more of?
Be grateful.
Will people visit Mars in your lifetime?
No.
All right. Thank you so very much for jumping on the show, Deb. And thanks for the free gifts.
Thank you, Russ. This has been a pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. All right. Well, congratulations. You made it to the end of the show. Only a small percentage of people finish what they start, which means you found a lot of value in the information that Deb and I were sharing with you. So I'm going to put the ball in your court right now. I want you to I want you to share. I want you to at least give us a little comment, engage with us in some way. We spend a lot of time, energy, and effort to bring you this information for free. And all we ask is that you engage with us in some way. So if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button, leave a little comment. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and tag someone. If you're on a podcast, just make sure to jump over to exactlyhow.com and get all your free stuff. So thanks again for being here, and I'll talk to you in the next episode of Exactly How.
The Connected Investors app connects you with investors, notifies you of available properties, helps locate cash buyers, and secure private funding to close deals. Set up in seconds to become a member of the Connected Investors social network. Now you can scroll through your main feed to find cash buyers, see investment properties not available to the general public, and network with investors by adding your own comments to a thread to keep the conversation going. The Control Center is your connection to add properties to sell, start new discussions, connect with local investors, and even find private funding. The Notifications tab will keep you alerted to new investment properties and offers. You'll also find new friend requests to connect directly with the community to build your network. From the property marketplace, you'll be able to find, favorite, and make offers on investment properties. Download Connected Investors today to find, figure, fund, and flip investment properties on the go.